Read on 16, was it 16? Of course I choke on this now. 1615 South 10th Street in St. Joseph, Missouri. I'm going to be including for your viewing pleasure or input the Google Street View of that area so that you can kind of see. As she said, the place is no longer standing, but you can see in the neighborhood where the house should have stood, which looks like between the brick building that you will see and a smaller home with a very large tree that's growing over into the house quite a bit. So that would be the area. I've looked at the addresses just to kind of pinpoint, make sure which one. There's another house across the way that's 1616, but there's no 1615. So you end up seeing that there is, as the request was made, that there was another lot and it's no longer there. Looks like the house next door may have absorbed the lot. This one, it has a trampoline, there's kids. Looks like there's some kids there at that place. Anyway, it's got a white picket fence out the front. So I'm going to focus on that, and I'm going to see what I get about this area of St. Joseph where this house of 1615 South 10th Street in St. Joseph. Going to see what I get with the cards about this address. Just see what we get and see if I can interpret it very well or not. So anyway, I'm going to focus on 1615 South 10th Street. And I just want to yeah, 1615 South 10th Street, St. Joseph, Missouri. The house was torn down, but can you read on that address, please? So that's what I'm going to try and do. This is just to kick off the series, because my own story is going to take me a little longer. I should have figured that out. And maybe that will be the final one that will seal it. But I'm going to get some of these started because I just simply feel like it needs to get started. So let's see what we get for Anita, who requested this. Thank you, Anita. Okay, so I want to ask the Spirit of the Tarot, the universe. This is really my first reading of the day. What you want to share with me about 1615 South 10th Street in St. Joseph, Missouri, about this address and the house. What do the cards want to relate? What they pick up on at 1615 South 10th Street in St. Joseph, Missouri? Okay. Let's see what we get. I've tried to shuffle this deck up really well. Again, this is the Manga Tarot, and it's a kind of one of those Japanese decks. It's beautiful. I think I love the art. So let's see what we get. It always helps, if I hold the deck the right way here. Okay, I'm getting the King of Swords covering, I'm going to say, that address, that place. This would be an adult male of possibly an air sign, but he would be very more, tended to be a lot into his head, or kind of with the more cerebral tendency. But let's just see what else we get. That's just a basic, very general description of what I'm kind of picking up. I do feel like it is the man of someone that lived in that area, that address. And this looks like, with the Four of Wands, this was meant to be maybe a home for a bride. It looks like a wedding gift crossing. So it may have been a gift to a bride, or a home, a new home for a couple. Maybe a wedding gift. Maybe the parents or somebody bought them the house. I don't know. But with it cover a male, it's coming through a male line, and looks like there was a wedding or some aspect of that function. So let's just see. The Fool. This wasn't something new. And maybe young as well. I get a sense of a young, very young couple as a possible connection. Like this was like a marriage, something through marriage, or this is the home that they settled in. But we have them crowned by the Ten of Swords, which is not a good thing. This is a very painful, it would indicate, time cycle. So it doesn't sound like their life together ended up being too happy. This would be something very serious there. Potentially the intensity, I mean the Ten of Swords and the King of Swords, I'm feeling, because he's connected to that, it makes me feel like this annihilation of some kind. And I don't know whether it was of his bride or what, but, or like something just like this is like over the top when you get the Ten of Swords. And I'm just strongly feeling that there's something about it, maybe a new couple, very young, and maybe something with the male or a male, and something with overkill. Yes, we get the Two of Cups, so we're getting, I feel like, a couple. This goes into the past that got married, or it looks, I feel like a newlywed couple. And there's they get the oppressive card of the Ten of Swords hanging over them and over that address. And with the threshold, I'm feeling like this is him carrying a bride over a threshold back in the day. And like this home was either built for them or bought for them, something, like a gift. Or he may have given her this as a wedding gift. And this was, the thing though, is that based on the Fool, this is based on, and with the male popping up like that, it would indicate to me that this male has a connection to at the time, I think not only youth, and this was a new marriage, I feel like very, that sense of being very green, but I feel like also someone who may have a connection to liking, being attracted to great risky behavior. That can, be someone that likes to gamble. It can be just somebody that, there are people that just are risk takers. And the Fool can sometimes denote that as well. So just something I want to keep in mind. And being that this was crossing them, it looks like there was a challenge to keep this a happy relationship. Page of Coins, there's a child, I think, that comes in pretty quickly to the scene. And this child, I feel like, grows up, at least to the Knight, from the Page to the Knight, goes into their teen years, maybe. There's something about that. This child. All right. And in the environment is a Wheel of Fortune, so there was something that changed at that house and caused a fate, karmic turn of events. Definitely. Interesting. So I'm getting what looks like a small family, and maybe as the child begins to age, there's changes that lead up to something very significant within that household, that location. And we get the Seven of Cups, which is a kind of confusion, a lack of clarity. It can be abuse of substances under the influence, or just that things are blurry. Things are not clear. And this is kind of in the hopes and fears. And I just keep feeling like there's maybe a problem with alcohol or substance, maybe. Or just a diluted point of view. We have the Knight of Cups. So it's like there's, you get a Knight of Coins and a Knight of Cups. I feel like this is like youth. All right, I'm gonna have to ask for clarity on that. Were they under the influence, went to rob? I don't know. I'm not quite sure what's happening here, what I'm being shown, but Lovers and Queen of Swords. Well, this is a choice. But I feel like this is someone, maybe the Queen to the King of the Swords here, of that pair, of that match, who makes a choice. The female's making a choice. And it could be that there is someone who romantically seeks her attention. I'm not quite sure here. I could be shown a few different things going on at once, but this could be an affair of some kind, or just the choice of a female. And then we see somebody going solo. I think giving up a child. I think there may have been a child a child given up for adoption or something. I'm getting bits and pieces, and it's feeling like there could have been an affair by one of the people I see as a couple here. And I think that could have wound up in a pregnancy. That I think that there was some kind of either like giving away of, or going into, under the radar about it in some way, about a pregnancy. These could be also not just, you may not get on this place one significant story entirely. If it had been there for long, there may be layers of stories, people that had lived there. So that's another reason, but I'm really getting strongly about maybe initially a couple, maybe that initially built the place or bought the place or it was for, and it looks like their kind of union was doomed. Something was not good with that. And then I'm getting issues where I'm seeing possible infidelity, hiding of a child. It looks like the story of a domestic, clearly, couple. But let's just see if we can get some more clarity, if I can get any clarity. Yeah, and then we get like a Queen of Cups and a King of Coins. I feel like these are new people that come into, perhaps as connected to the history of the place. And this would be indicative of a male and a female who were also looking out to definitely benefit themselves, get greater benefit in the future. They show up, and I don't feel like they are necessarily connected. These two feel like they were looking for opportunity. I may have arrived in the area and lived in that home for that purpose. I feel like we're getting like a different layer of people. But it looks like there was a lot of worry here. This is anxiety. And this is a lack of an ability to sleep. And it's things like this. I think people that live there, that they can leave that energy in on a place that can be picked up. We have the Five of Wands. So there's arguing and Temperance, about balance, about, I think, how to get ahead. There may have been a business that they were trying to get off the ground or something along those lines. I'll pause here. Okay. Using the common threads, doing another little read. I'm getting something about definitely a child, and night, teacher death. And I wonder if there isn't, and because of the other card reading using the Maijastarot, where I see a child and a family and if there wasn't a connection to maybe a child's spirit with this knight, it's just an impression that kind of nagged at me, and I feel like this child, I feel like, was wanting to connect this child's spirit that was there. Star. I don't think had completely made the crossing. Possible connection to a teacher, of course. And with that star next to the artist, I'm getting an accent on, well, somebody that had maybe a rising talent in some way with art, maybe as a teacher. I can only surmise because I have no understanding of any information about this address. But these are the cards I'm getting, and so I feel like I'm being shown layers of time of that area address. But there's definite sense of someone feeling trapped and unhappy in that house. And I feel that I just keep feeling like there was a wife that put up with a lot of poor treatment and abuse. Definitely got a sense of domestic abuse. And a controlling male, the King of Swords. But it's saying in general that the house was holding this energy in it. And that doesn't look like happy energy. It initially starts out with a lot of hope and potential. With what I picked up with was some looked like newly married couple, but who just seemed doomed, hanging over them with the Ten of Swords is literally hanging over them. They may have undergone just such a devastating loss. It's a real sense of depression and a sense of annihilation with that 10. It's very dramatic energy. It's not chill. It's not just like, family. No, we get very intense dramatic cards on that, at that address. The lightest, were initially, and maybe here with an artist or somebody that was trying to rise in their career or be seen, somebody who wanted attention as well, I'm getting. So I'm really looking to Anita to fill us in, and this will be the interactive part of the story for her request. So I'm going to go ahead and put this story up to go ahead and kick off the haunted location series, and I'm looking forward to interacting with you guys and you letting me know about that area, or if it's like a personal area that I'm not going to be able to research like this one is. Maybe you can tell me what you know. It's gonna definitely have to be part of it, and I'm very curious to see what Anita will have to say. Again, lovers, we get sorry again. We get choices that people made there, and I think we're getting people making choices for perhaps not the right reasons. I think out of boredom and out of short term, trying to do things for short term happiness that cause long term unhappiness. That's what I get, and definitely around a relationship or a marriage. Yeah, a mother. There was someone that was a mother and a wife, and I think she was abused. Chaos, yes. And couldn't talk about it. Had to deny it. So I think this was a house or a location where there was a great deal of domestic abuse, like I thought. And it looks to me like this is someone, perhaps a woman, looking to leave, looking to change her life situation, perhaps, and leave. And we get the Emperor, the husband, the father. And there is some kind of transformation he undergoes, perhaps with her either looking to leave or demanding change. It looks like this kind of saying there's a lot of different karmic connections to that place. That there's a number of, I feel like a distinct number of people, because of course that place is no more, but that lived there, and it's like their collaborative lifetimes impacted the energy of that place, because judgment of what they did and how they felt about what they did. Did they transition or not, or move on? I don't think so. I think some of them were stuck in the house. And there's a real story, a repeating story about one's personal freedom and feeling like you can be yourself. And the power of self-empowerment, trying to, I think perhaps this woman at some point wanted to escape a very oppressive situation. Yep, she was reclaiming her power, wanted more potential in her life. And there was a struggle because of it. Power struggle in the relationship. Gratitude. A change. From, it looks like love, or, and when this wildness deals with just allowing somebody they are, and not be offended and threatened by everything that may be a bit different or a bit wild to you about them. And this is being comfortable in your own skin as well. And feeling like you can, Be more of yourself. Be more truthful. Live your own truth. And personal freedoms of expression. I think that somebody there depended heavily on religion, on some sense of spiritual belief to get through difficulties. And it looks like there was some sharing of that in some way too, with that spiritual guidance. I feel like it was something that they shared. Perhaps before their journey here on Earth was over, because we're getting time and journey and like the sense of like, okay, my time's up, I've got to move on. So that's what I get. And I hope Anita, like I said, can fill us in on 1615 South 10th Street in St. Joseph, Missouri.